Are we going?
We're going.
Let's go. Let's go then. Woo, woo,
Welcome
woo.
to a new season of the podcast. We are here. I never know which direction Pete's at, but we're gonna fist bump all on the other. I don't know. Zoom does whatever it wants, but we're here. We are. It's me. My name is Brennan Corcoran, and this is my friend Peter Kolb. Pete, say hi to the people.
Hello.
Hello, people. Welcome back. All right. Jumping right into it. We're looking at the stand-ins after week one. At the top, the Peter football team. No longer really applicable to the NFL anymore, but I still think it's an awesome fantasy name. No need to change it. I didn't think the Washington football team needed to change it. I think the Commanders are stupid. Sure. Congratulations to everyone who got their first win. Probably disappointing week for everyone who got their first loss. Hopefully you're in other leagues and you did a little bit better. But yep, this is what the standings look like. The projected playoff brackets or final standings changed up a little bit as well. We're looking at some changes in the middle and up at the top, but I think these change literally every week. So Pete, you got anything to say about the league? This is what the waiver report looks like this week. Anything pop out to you?
No, not a lot popping out to me. Honestly, I don't know. Week one moves. That's big from Jeff Stad. Is that Ozzy? Is that Seamus?
That's Ozzy.
Big move from Ozzy to pick up Julio Jones. He looks real good in a Buccaneers uniform, I think, and will probably do good things. But yeah, other than that, let's get cracking. Should we cover the biggest losers, biggest winners of week one?
Yes, sir. You want to go first with your biggest loser?
I sure will. My biggest loser, and this was a little tough one to find, but I'm going to give it to Derrick Henry and Colin Verwist. Unfortunately, week one, Colin losing by, I think, like 10 points or so, just like 12 or 13. And every other stud drafted player in the first round, save for maybe Austin Eckler as well.
Right.
Went off, Justin Jefferson, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Devonta Adams, all of those guys, just Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, on and on. All of the studs went off as they should, except for Derrick Henry. And I thought that really ended up costing Colin. Very unfortunate, but gets the biggest loser of week one.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. That Tennessee offense looked different without AJ Brown, without a couple of different pieces. My biggest loser was actually Cam Akers, someone who got a lot of hype in the offseason. I actually picked him up in one of my leagues. Jeff actually picked him up in this league. He was projected 12 points, as a lot of the mid-tier running backs who had starting positions were. He ended up with 0 points. I think that was a blow to anyone who started him.
Very scary.
Now Cam Akers is only projected 7.4, so that's never good to see. And it looks like Ozzy actually picked up Darrell Henderson from the Rams. So Jeff kind of the biggest loser, but really it was all Cam Akers. My biggest winner, I'll just hop right into that, was another running back, 3 running backs when it comes to these biggest winners and losers. Saquon Barkley, thought he played awesome, thought he was really the most explosive part of that Giants offense. Who knows what the Giants are going to do this year, but I thought Saquon looked back to his old self. He's actually on my team, and that's not one of the reasons why I did the biggest winner, but a player that I think stood out to a lot of people after week one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what was your week one winner?
For sure, I like the pick. I think it's a little iffy picking yourself, but I like the pick. My week one winner is going to go to Seamus and AJ Brown. AJ Brown, is a guy that you didn't see on highlight clips too much. You don't watch Titans games much. You knew he was a very good receiver, but one of those guys, just like Devontae and a few others, where how much of it is the system, the quarterback, etc. How much is the player? He came to the Eagles. Now he's in much more prime time location and with a much cooler quarterback that's got a lot of pressure on him this offense this year, and he just absolutely looked fantastic. Not only did he play really, really well, especially in the first half, I think he had over 100 yards in the first half, but he just also looked like Jalen Hurts' best friend, and wherever Jalen was looking, which you love to see. Stuff like that is probably going to continue on. So AJ Brown, someone personally that I was not trying to pick up in any of my leagues, and already I'm sort of looking at him, wishing I did. So yeah, he gets my week 1 winner.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I also, you brought up AJ Brown and Devontae Adams. Both of their quarterbacks got losses, and the new teams that they went to, they just were explosive players on the field. Well, maybe probably AJ Brown more than Devontae, but again,
No, Devontae looked incredible. They still lost.
So. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay, but he did look good.
He did. I know, and I don't know how many of you guys were watching the Packers game, but throughout the first half, they had a live ticker, not live, wasn't up the whole time, but they brought it up like 3 or 4 or 5 times, showing how many yards Tay has at that time and showing how many yards the Packers receivers have. Super cruel.
That is cruel.
Cruel
and
really,
unusual. Seriously.
We were getting whumped by the Vikings with that on the little ticker, so that was fun. Yeah, funny. onto our week 2 matchups.
Go for it.
Oh, this is mine. Yes. We got Colin versus Brenan. Both of my 2 matchups sort of carry a similar storyline. Both 1-0 versus 0-1 matchups. And the 1-0 team, in this case, Brenan, looking very, very strong. The 0-1 team, in this case, Colin, looking very shaky. Starting with Colin, T. Higgins, I'm pretty sure he got injured in the first quarter. That's a little tough. If you scroll down, did he have somebody else that got injured? Yeah, it was Keenan Allen. That sucks big time when you pick someone like DeAndre Hopkins, who you're, going to be leaning on towards the end of the season. You need guys like Keenan Allen and T. Higgins to have a quick start. So, and then on the opposite side, Josh Allen, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon, even stretching down to Tyreek, all look solid as a rock. Loved what I saw out of Tyreek in Miami. I think he's going to be great this year. And those first 3 are looking like the studs that you drafted them to be. So Colin's got a big uphill battle here. I'm seeing that the projection isn't that too far away, but I think no doubt Colin's going to have a big rebound week if he does have one. Sort of similar to, so same thing, 1-0 versus 0-1. In this case, Ozzy dealing with DeAndre Swift going down early in the week. I didn't see that in the game. I didn't know he got injured. Just saw the report today. CeeDee Lamb losing Dak Prescott. That's going to be really, really tough for him. And then, of course, Austin Eckler didn't have a great week, and Aaron Rodgers had a very bad week. Even at Rodgers, median, he's not a great fantasy quarterback. He doesn't put up a whole lot of yards. So if Rodgers isn't playing well, he's going to be bad in fantasy. He's not just going to be okay, as we sort of saw last week. So a little scary there. And then Seamus, as long as Christian McCaffrey is active each week, I think his team is going to be pretty explosive. Who knows how long that will be. But yeah, all of his studs, just like Brennan's team, are firing on all cylinders. So same storyline as the last one. Ozzy needs a big upset to rebound.
Yeah, I always like making these points when I recognize them too. Ozzy had the 2nd pick in the draft, and Seamus had the 3rd pick in the draft. So they were definitely kind of probably competing for picks. But Austin Eckler is who Ozzy went with at the number 2 pick, and that dropped Christian McCaffrey to Seamus for the 2nd year in a row. So that should be interesting. We'll get a live look week 2 at whether those 2 players, as you said, week 1, it was a lot different. I think, Ozzy maybe is regretting his pick a little bit, but we'll see. It's a long season. I know that Keenan Allen's already out, so Austin Eckler should probably get some more touches. Next, we got Jeff playing Peter, the Peter football team. As I was mentioning before, he scored the most points last week, deservingly so. He's got a very stacked team. He's projected the most points in this week, but Jeff isn't too far off with 140. There's only a couple teams that are projected over the 140 hump, and you're up there with 144. Don't know about Justin Herbert. Again, he was I remember at the beginning of last season, Colin drafted and ended up starting Tom Brady for the rest of the season and winning the championship. So you never know. Justin Herbert and that offense was looking a little shaky. I think that surprised a lot of people, but Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, Darren Waller even had a mediocre game and it was still tight end numbers pretty good. Like a lot, both of his flex positions too. We'll see if Brandon Cooks can continue to be a pretty lights out player for Houston. They don't have many. Chris Godwin would be nice if he could get into a rhythm sometime here in the season. That's never good. But on Jeff's side, other than Cam Akers, his team's looking really good. I think Travis Kelce is going to be the top receiver in Kansas City. Pat Mahomes still looks amazing, even though he busted his thumb up in the first quarter. We'll see if Kyler Murray and Alvin Kamara can find their ways. I'm not too positive about how Kyler Murray did last week. 20 points, not too bad. And Alvin Kamara obviously with a disappointing seven points. I got Pete in this one though. I think his team's the team to beat. I think for sure. So I mean that Cowboys coaching staff is really scary. So
no. If McCarthy gets fired, do I still get Cowboys coach?
Yes, you do. You have an interim head coach then.
Sweet.
On to the next. We got Ken versus Frank here. You'll see the projected totals again are just lower. Frank's team looking like it's being led by Pat Mahomes in a broken left thumb. Apparently, that is not going to be an issue. Najee Harris looked pretty legit. I'm glad to see that he's going to be hopefully suiting up next week. When he was on the field, he looked legit. James Conner was the only playmaker in Arizona. Stephon still amazing. Mike Evans still stud, although Tom Brady didn't look super great. They struggled definitely on offense. But they showed signs of hope. And one of my winners was going to be Michael Thomas. Now that I'm looking at him, he came back, and I think a lot of people are very excited to have him on their fantasy team. I'm sure Frank is.
Yeah, can I just hop in there? Can you click on Michael Thomas's stats for last week?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I just knew he got
2
a
touchdowns.
lot of points through touchdowns, right? That it was some goal line tutties, so never know quite how sustainable that will be. But
I think,
doubt. He's on
for
the radar
sure.
now.
They call him Slant Boy for sure, but I mean, if you're gonna be a red zone threat, I think that's a good flex position to have any day of the week when your 2 wide receivers are Steph and Mike Evans.
Very true.
Ken only paid $40 of his $50 in dues this year. I guess he didn't get the memo that we raised it to 50. I guess we're 4/5 like happy with that though. Joe Burrow definitely struggled. I think the Bengals offensive line kind of scared me. He was getting a lot of pressure from the Steelers last week. And on the other hand, I thought Leonard Fournette definitely showed signs of the same amount of, rush that he's going to have per game, just like last year. Justin Jefferson, arguably the best, player to have right now. So I'm actually going to go with Frank. I think Stephon Diggs is a big person in there. I think his wide receivers kind of have the upper hand over Ken. So I'm going to go with Frank's Funky Bunch week 2 win. We're going to jump right into the all fantasy football team for the 2022 season. It's been dubbed by Peter as the all Brenan team. This is where I like to look at who the top position players are. If you were to be able to redraft your team, these are the best players in their position. This is what your team would look like. Your quarterback would be Mr. Pat Mahomes, had 5 touchdowns last week, 34.9 points. Topped Josh Allen's only 31.5 points. Running backs, 2 of them, Saquon, who had 33.4 points, and Jonathan Taylor, the number 1 pick, with 27.5 points. Your wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, had a whopping 39.4 league leading most points scored at all last week. Very dominant, 39.4 points. Cooper Kupp with 31.8 after his week on Thursday night. Devontae Adams would be one of this flex. Jamar Chase would be the next flex probably in those positions. 30.1 and 28.9 respectively. Respectable points right there from those 2 flex positions. And your kicker, Young Hoku, went undrafted, and Ozzy actually picked him up this week. Yeah, he scored 18 points for no one last week. So congratulations, Ozzy. That was a pretty great pickup this week. And your Steelers D playing the AFC champions in the Cincinnati Bengals, 22 points. They had 4 interceptions, 7 sacks, and a touchdown in their overtime win against the Bengals. That's your all Brennan team. Next week and the week after that, it should look a little bit different. But I got to be honest, this week, definitely those, like you said, those star players showed up and they got a lot of points. So no real new faces here. And now let's move on to the lock of the week. This is the segment where Peter and I, who are not very good at betting, will try to give you our expertise in the betting game. We each picked a lock bet of the week. Hopefully you can either fade us or you can run with us. We both have a 0-0 record right now, Pete. So choose wisely. What's your lock of the week?
All right, I want to give a special shout out to Colts and Rams. Those would be my 2 follow-up picks, but the lock of the week for me in week 2 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the New Orleans Saints. Buccaneers only getting 2.5 points, which just seems weirdly low to me. They looked good enough. Their defense looked incredible last week. Then Brady was a little slow with the receivers, and their offense didn't look fantastic. But Fournette still got 100 yards. Brady will figure it out. And I don't get why people respect Jameis Winston so much as a quarterback. I love him. Everybody loves him as a person, but I'm yet to get why he's sort of treated like he can.
Remember when he stole those crab legs, though? Do people really like him as a person? He's a good character. He's a good character though. I like that.
And he also okay, go ahead.
You could go ahead.
I just forgot. I forgot that he also like sexually harassed his Uber driver. I think that was a storyline years back. But he's a character.
But man, is he good at football. I think one of the most exciting matchups of the year is usually the Bucks versus Saints. Last year, the Saints were the Bucks' kryptonite. I mean, they shut them down. So I'm interested in seeing that matchup. I think 2.5 is a little low. That's Pete's lock of the week. Minus 2.5 or plus 2.5.
Yep.
Minus 2.5 to the Bucks.
Yes.
Minus 2.5 to the Bucks. Lock it up. We are going to hold him accountable next week.
Nice.
I also had, might as well, if you were going to say that what your backup, what your honorable mention for the lock of the week is, I'm going to do so too. I didn't see anything special from the Cowboys. They did play a good Bucks defense. Without Dak Prescott, I don't even know who their backup quarterback is, but I'm going to guarantee that they don't cover the minus 7.5 spread from the Bengals. So that was my honorable mention. But my lock of the week is actually the Miami spread. It's plus 3.5. I would even take the money line if I really had to, if I didn't want to lock bet, but I wanted to make some money, it's pretty good. The money line, it's definitely plus in the percentages. Miami over Baltimore. That's who I think. I thought Miami played great. I thought Tyreek was incredible. I thought Jalen Waddle was really good. I thought Tua was fine. Nice. I thought the offensive line was good, and I think their defense is very good. So I don't, the Jets defense let up 3 touchdowns against Baltimore. They held Lamar to the least amount of rushing points he's had in 2 years, rushing yards that he's had in 2 years. So I think it's definitely their beatable team. And I think that them having a 3.5 favorite over Miami is kind of insulting. So I'm going to lock that Miami covers that spread plus 3.5.
Sweet. There we go. Our 2 lock of the weeks. We'll do well to keep track of our records over the season, but first podcast in the books. Brennan, happy to do it. Dale, week 1 was very fun. Looking forward to week 2. Another great season for Bears wearing jetpacks.
Yes, sir. And next week we are going to start the shit talking. We figured you guys couldn't have come up with anything even remotely funny this week to, try to talk shit against your opponents. But we have set up a voicemail. I will send it in the group chat. You record a message here and we will play it live. I'm not even gonna listen to them beforehand. So if you want your message to be played live for the YouTube version, let us know. With that, we'll see you next week. Peter, thank you so much.
I just want to say, if you need help funneling funds away from charities for impoverished into your private bank account, baby, Favre can do it. All right, go Pack, go. See you next week.
Yeah, the Jets, the famous Jets quarterback Brett Favre. I'm sorry, famous Vikings quarterback Brett Favre. All right. Till next week.
Till next week. See ya.